welcome back to Friday Reads, where we help you find your next read. I'm Jill.
And I'm Julie, and today we are doing James Patterson read-alike books, which Jill stuck to traditional fiction authors, and I kind of went and spun off in a different direction. So I realized that there is simply a Patterson for everything. So I'm going to let Jill kick us off with some of her authors and fiction picks.
My first author is Brad Thor, and this one is Black Ice. Brad Thor is the #1 New York Times bestselling author of 21 thrillers that often involve spies. So Patterson has spy thrillers. You'll like this guy, I guess. The book I chose today is the 20th in the series, a Scott Harvath series, and was published in 2021. The new Cold War is about to get hot. Scott Harvath is having the best summer ever. With a cottage on the fjord, a boat, and his beautiful girlfriend Sueli, he's got everything he could possibly want. But out on vacation days and long overdue back home, America's top spy has a decision to make. Return or submit his resignation. When his deadly past comes calling, though, he left with no choice at all. Leaving his favorite Oslo cafe, Harvath watches as a ghost climbs out of a taxi. A man he killed years ago, halfway around the world. How is he still alive, and what is he doing in Norway? In a race against time that will take him high above the Arctic Circle, Harvath will be tested in ways he has never imagined and pushed to a limit few human beings could ever endure. If he succeeds, he'll walk away with everything. If he fails, the United States and its allies will be mercy of one of the most dangerous actors. So,
Popular author. So, first thing I learned about Patterson, with There's a Patterson for Everything, is he and his wife write picture books. So I've got big words for little geniuses and cuddly critters for little geniuses. I wasn't aware that he was a picture book writer. But a good match that came up for his books from the picture book area was the Matt De La Pena book, Milo Imagines the World, and he is the author of Last Stop on Market Street, which was a Newbery Medal winner and a Caldecott honor and the Credit Scott King Illustrator honor. So he matched as far as language arts and vocabulary. So check out Matt De La Pena's work. And this one is Milo Imagines the World. Milo's on a long subway ride with his older sister. To pass the time, he studies the faces around him and makes pictures of their lives. There's the whiskered man with the crossword puzzle. Milo imagines him playing solitaire in a cluttered apartment full of pets. There's the wedding-dressed woman with a little dog peeking out of her handbag. Milo imagines her in a grand cathedral ceremony. And then there's the boy in the suit with the bright white sneakers. Milo imagines him arriving home to a castle with a drawbridge and a butler. But when the boy in the suit gets off on the same stop, walking the same path, going to the exact same place, Milo realizes that you can't really know anyone just by looking at them. So I thought that was an interesting picture book pick. He also, in my quest to find out more about James Patterson, he also writes juvenile fiction. So one of the series we have is the Just My Rotten Luck, the middle school series. But a good match that came up for that was Owen Colfer's The Fowl Twins. This came up as a match for James Patterson for action-packed teenage boys and humor. So, in this series, criminal genius runs in the family. Miles and Beckett are 11-year-old twins, but the two boys are wildly different. Beckett is blonde, messy, and sulks whenever he has to wear clothes. Miles is fanatically neat. He has an IQ of 170 and wears a fresh suit every day, like his older brother, Artemis Fowl. Perhaps you have heard of the Fowl family and their adventures. The Fowl adventure is filled with the most unusual of individuals: an immortal duke, a miniature troll, a police specialist that's 42% elf, and more characters. And of course, the Fowl twins. One a certified genius with a criminal leaning, and the other possessing an unusual talent that has not been fully explored yet. This is the first in a breathtaking series set in the multi-million best-selling world of Artemis Fowl. So this is #1 in the Fowl Twins series. So if you like James Patterson's middle school series, check out Owen Colfer's The Fowl Twins series.
That's cute. The picture books, though. I've never seen them come across the desk ever.
Yeah, like I said, it was amazing that there really truly is a Patterson for everything.
It really is. He's all over the library. My next suggestion is Jeffrey Deaver. Jeffrey Deaver is an American mystery writer and crime writer, so a lot of crime in this one. This book, The Midnight Lock, was published in 2021, and it is number 15 in the Lincoln Rhyme series. When a woman arrives home in her Manhattan apartment to find that her personal items have been rearranged while she slept, police initially dismiss her complaint. Nothing was stolen, and there's no sign of breaking and entering. But when the same woman turns up dead, Lincoln Rhyme and Amelia Sachs are brought in to investigate the murder. They soon learn that the murderer calls himself the locksmith. He is obsessed with locks, slipping into homes in the dead of the night and tying his victims up with knots or locks, ultimately strangling them. Their hunt for the killer is interrupted when an internal investigation in the police force uncovers what seems to be a crucial mistake in one of Rhyme's previous cases. He is removed from the case and must investigate the locksmith in secret to untangle the mysteries behind the psychotic killer before he can set his ultimate trap. So, a little suspenseful crime drama here. Jeffrey Deaver. He's got a lot of books.
Okay, and moving out of the children's area and into the YA area, James Patterson also writes a YA series, and this is Confessions of a Murder Suspect. And my read-alike for that is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This book matched on series, teenage girl detectives, and murder. So in this book, Ellingham Academy is a famous private school in Vermont for the brightest thinkers, inventors, and artists. It was founded by Albert Ellingham, an early 20th century tycoon who wanted to make a wonderful place full of riddles, twisting pathways, and gardens. A place, he said, where learning is a game. Shortly after the school opened, his wife and daughter were kidnapped. The only real clue was a mocking riddle listing methods of murder, signed with the frightening pseudonym Truly Devious. It became one of the most unsolved crimes of American history. True crime aficionado Stevie Bell is set to begin her first year at the Academy, and she has an ambitious plan. She will solve this cold case. That is, she will solve the case when she gets a grip on her demanding new school life and her housemates, the inventor, the novelist, the actor, the artist, and the jokester. But something strange is happening. Truly Devious makes a surprise return, and death revisits Ellingham Academy. The past has crawled out of its grave. Someone has gotten away with murder. The two interwoven mysteries of the first book in Truly Devious dovetail brilliantly, and Stevie Bell will continue her relentless quest for the murderers in books 2 and 3. So check out Maureen Johnson, Truly Devious, if you like the James Patterson YA Confessions of a Murder Suspect.
I've not seen that James Patterson one either, but I think I did read one of his young adult novels. My next suggestion is Ridley Pearson. He is a #1 New York Times selling author of more than 50 suspense crime novels and young adult adventure novels. So if you like it fits 2 different Patterson categories. This one is Middle of Nowhere. It's a Bolton Matthews series. It's number 7. In the middle of nowhere, the blue flu has struck the Seattle police force, and the majority of the officers are in unofficial strike, with the exception of a few, including Detective Lou Bolt, who is committed to the job. When a string of robberies and the brutal assault of a female cop rock the city, the pressure of isolation threatens Bolt's psyche and his marriage. With the help of psychologist Daphne Matthews and Sergeant John Lemoy, Bolt is able to make progress on both the assault and the robberies, but things soon spin out of control, and Bolt's refusal to drop the case puts his own life at risk. This book is filled with fast-paced, spiraling action and suspense that grips the imagination. So, Ridley Pearson.
Okay, I'm moving into the adult area, and Patterson writes novellas. So in this one, 2 from the Heart, it's 2 novellas, and my read-alike for this one came up to be The Little Parrots Bookshop, a novel by Nina George. And it matched because they said they both had engaging characters who leave their normal lives behind in search for the more that they know must be out there. So, there are books that are suitable for 1 million people, others for only 100. There are even books that were written for one person only. A book is both medic and medicine at once. It makes a diagnosis as well as offering therapy. Putting the right novels to the appropriate ailments. That's how I sell books. Monsieur Perdue calls himself a literary apothecary. From his floating bookstore in a barge on the Seine, he prescribes novels for the hardships of life. Using his intuitive feel for the exact book a reader needs, he mends broken hearts and souls. The only person he can't seem to heal through literature is himself. He's still haunted by heartbreak after his great love disappeared. She left him with only a letter, which he has never opened. After he is finally tempted to read the letter, he hauls anchor and departs on a mission to the south of France, hoping to make peace with his loss and discover the end of the story. Joined by a best-selling but blocked author and a lovelorn Italian chef, he travels along the country's rivers, dispensing his wisdom and his books, showing that the literary world can take the human soul on a journey to heal itself. So this is internationally best-selling and filmed with warmth and adventure. The Little Paris Bookshop is a love letter to books. It's meant for anyone who believes in the power of stories to shape people's lives.
It's hard to imagine that James Patterson wrote heartwarming stories.
I know, he's got 2 novellas, 2 from the heart.
He has a
They're
heart,
looking
too.
for more.
So my next suggestion is John Grisham. You remember him? He wrote The Firm. I don't see him circulate that much. John Grisham, born February 8, 1955, is an American writer, attorney, and politician. He writes legal thrillers that often top the bestseller list and adapted for film. Sueli was published in 2021, and unlike many other picks, it does not seem to be part... I'm sorry. Okay, so this is not part of a series, unlike the other ones I have that were all like number 15 or number 20 or number 17 or something like that. This one stands alone, so it's kind of good. It's a little bit of a departure for John Grisham because it's his first basketball novel. In the summer of his 17th year, Suleiman gets the chance of a lifetime, a trip to the United States with his South Sudanese teammates to play in a showcase basketball tournament. He has never been away from home, nor has he ever been on an airplane. The opportunity to be scouted by dozens of college coaches is a dream come true. Samuel is an amazing athlete with speed, quickness, and an astonishing vertical leap. The rest of his game, though, needs work, and the American coaches are less than impressed. During the tournament, Samuel receives devastating news from home. A civil war is raging across South Sudan. The rebel troops have ransacked his village. His father is dead, his sister is missing, and his mother and 2 young brothers are in a refugee camp. Samuel desperately wants to go home, but it's not possible. Partly out of sympathy, the coach of the North Carolina Central offers him a scholarship. Samuel moves to Durham, enrolls in classes, joins the team, and prepares to sit out the freshman season. There's plenty of more mature talent, and he isn't immediately needed. But Samuel has something no other player has, a fierce determination to succeed so he can bring his family to America. He works tirelessly on the game, shooting baskets every morning at dawn by himself in the gym, and soon he's dominating everyone in practice. With the Central team losing and suffering injury after injury, Sueli, as he is nicknamed, is called off the bench, and the legend begins. But how far can Sueli take his team, and will success allow him to save his family? Gripping and moving, Sueli showcases John Grisham's unparalleled storytelling powers in a whole new light. This is Grisham at the top of his game, they say. Well, I don't know about that, but it's an alternative to James Patterson.
There you go. Now I'm kind of circling into Jill's territory. So I have a Patterson pick. Along Came a Spider, the Alex Cross book, #1. This was when I read James Patterson, was back in these paperbacks way back when with the Along Came a Spider and Jack and Jill and all of those. And the read-alike that I picked is Jonathan Kellerman's When the Bough Breaks. And this is the first in his series featuring Alex Delaware. So we meet Dr. Morton Handler, who practiced a strange brand of psychiatry. Among his specialties were fraud, extortion, and sexual manipulation. Handler paid for his sins when he was brutally murdered in his luxurious Pacific Palisades apartment. The police have no leads, but they do have one possible witness, 7-year-old Melody Quinn. Psychologist Dr. Alex Delaware's job is to unlock the terrible secret buried in Melody's memory. As the sinister shadows in the girl's mind begin to take shape, Alex discovers that the mystery touches a shocking incident in his own past. The connection is only the beginning, a single link in a 40-year-old conspiracy. And behind it lies an unspeakable evil that Alex Delaware must expose before it claims another innocent victim, little Melody Quinn. This series has over 35 books in it, so if you want an alternative to the Alex Cross, maybe the Alex Delaware series with Jonathan Kellerman.
You don't even have to remember the first name. My next suggestion is John Sanford. He is born John Roswell Camp. John Sanford is his pen name. He's a New York Times bestselling author, former journalist, and a recipient of the Pulitzer Prize. So this is a prize-winning guy. So this one is Bloody Genius. It's the Virgil Flowers series, #12. At the local university, two feuding departments have faced off in the battleground of PC culture. Each carries their views to extremes that may seem absurd, but highly educated people of sound mind and good intentions can reasonably disagree, right? Then one department stars winds up dead, and Virgil Flowers is brought in to investigate, and he soon comes to realize he's dealing with people who, on this one particular issue, are functionally crazy. Among this group are wildly impassioned, diametrically opposed zealots. Lurks a killer, and it will be up to Virgil to sort the murderer from the mere maniac. So this kind of relates to like life now.
Oh, goodness. Okay, we also found our friend Patterson in the nonfiction area. So my last pick by James Patterson is Murder Interrupted, true crime thriller. And the read-alike that I picked for this one is I Will Find You, Solving Killer Cases from My Life Fighting Crime by Detective Lieutenant Joe Kenda. He's the star of Homicide Hunter, and he shares his deepest, darkest, and never-before revealed case files from his 19 years as a homicide detective. Are you horrified yet fascinated by murders? Do you crave to know the gory details of these crimes, and do you seek comfort in the solving of the most gruesome? In this book, Lieutenant Joe Kenda shares his deepest, darkest, and never-before revealed case files and reminds us that crimes like these are very real and can happen even in our own backyards. Not my cup of tea, but gruesome, macabre, and complex cases. He investigated 387 murder cases during his 23 years with the Colorado Springs Police Department, and he solved almost all of them. He's ready to detail the cases that are too gruesome to air on television, the cases that still haunt him, and the few cases where the killer got away. These cases are horrifyingly real, and the detail is so mesmerizing, you just can't look away. The tales will shock you like the best horror stories, divulging insights into the actions, motivations, and proclivities of nature's most dangerous species. Don't mind the blood. So, not my cup of tea, but didn't even realize that Patterson wrote
somehow
nonfiction.
I think the retired lieutenant might have a better take on things.
Might have a little bit more gruesome and macabre stories to share with us. So...
Well, we hope you gave you some ideas, and if you're a James Patterson fan in whatever genre he writes,
you now realize he is all over our library, starting in picture books and going all the way up to the adult fiction, which he's probably most known for. I know we've talked to him on collaboration weeks, and we've done him in thrillers, so we're all pretty well aware of James Patterson's body of work. But we hope you gave you some ideas to think about. Like, comment, share. We always like to hear from you. Come check us out on Facebook or on our Kimberly Public Library website. Next week, we're going to do some read-alikes for Danielle Steele. So
another favorite.
I think we'll find her as in many places in the library. So.
She doesn't have as many genres.
Until next time, we thank you for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.